All right, everybody, let's welcome to another help session. Yay. All right, preparing for this stuff.
Woo.
Yay, woo. All right, let's share my screen. All right, so before we get started on going into Doc 4, DBQ practice day 5 and day 4 with doc analysis and thesis writing, I wanted to show you guys something on the website. Just in case you haven't been there in a second, which I just put this up, so you probably haven't seen it yet. Under exam review, in this first section where it gives you all the information about exams for 2020, there is another thing I put. See this big green arrow? It's pointing at something kind of important. This is something given out by College Board for your exam day checklist. It's kind of like a sheet where you could put everything you need, and it's got like little reminders on it. And if you open it up, it literally gives you a place to put all your information that you're going to need for your exam. You know, what's your 8-character ID? You can find that on your exam confirmation email, which you won't get yet. You'll get it 2 days before the exam. Okay. Name of your exam, the check-in date. This gives you a little checklist. Am I ready to test? You know, so it makes sure, and it tells you which things to do. It gives you links to help out. It talks about things you could do during the exam, after the exam. So it's something that I encourage you guys to go through and check, and really try to understand it. If you have questions about it, email or send me a remind message. Any questions about that?
Nope.
I see nothing in the chat. I see nothing
Nope.
over there. Perfect. Okay.
No.
If you do, just type it in the chat. I'll try to pay attention to it as much as I can between these things. Let me admit these people in. Okay. The next thing, you see underneath it, it says practice exam link. No, this is not a link to actually like write a DBQ. When you click on it, it's going to take you to the same kind of page that you'll be doing your exam. So what will happen is the day of the exam, you'll probably get an email where it'll take you to a site like this. You'll put in your AP ID, and it'll take you to the next page. For this thing, it tells you can use the word practice. So just to show you guys, practice. Let's click continue.
You spelled.
Welcome to your exam demo. All right, so let's get started. You put in your personal information, asks you for your email addresses, where you're testing from, and it gives you 4 or 5 minutes to do this. After, it's going to go to another page, and it's going to show you all, you know what? I'll just do it with you, do it right now, just to do this fairly quickly. Let's go. We get August 13th, 1984. Yay, I'm old. Paul.Mathos. Whoop, that's not correct. Paul.Mathos at Broward Schools. And again, you do this. No, let's admit Layla. Oh, fine. It wants me to retype it. Paul.Mathos at Broward Schools. Where am I testing from? Maybe you're testing from home. Agree to the terms and hit continue. This will be the exact same thing you'll go through on test date. It'll tell you, hey, your exam will begin exactly here. Here are how you could do it. These are the methods. You can attach a text file. Okay, so maybe you want to type it in Word. Then you attach it. Okay, this obviously, it's one way to do it. The only thing you want to do is follow the instructions. Here's the requirements. Put your AP ID and initials, top of the page. Only one text file. Here are the acceptable formats. So don't put it on like Google Docs. If it's not text, doc, docx, PDF, don't do it. So make sure you know how to submit it in that way. And it tells you what to do. Any questions so far? All right. You could attach a photo. So like if you want to handwrite this, you know, write it out. But again, see what you need to do for the photo guidelines. You know, obviously this won't, for some of you that have bad handwriting, don't do this. Don't do it. And then finally, you can copy and paste. You know, maybe do it into another one. Like I think, Elliot, you were talking about doing before, writing it in Word and then copy and paste. You could do that too. So this tells you a lot of the ways, and then at the end of all this, you'll be able to, you're not going to practice the exam right now. All right, but this is how you're going to do the process. Any questions from you guys on that at all?
Nope.
People can unmute themselves, I believe, still. Unmute. If you want to type it in the chat, you can too.
No questions here.
Okie dokie. All right, with that being said, that's the checklist. Let's dive straight into it, y'all. All right, so all of you should be on my website by this point, because you know what's going to happen. Come down here to where it says WAP Exam 2020, and we're using DBQ Practice Day 4, Document Analysis. Please click on that, open it on your screen. If you can't open it on your screen for whatever reason, you can see that I have it here too, all right? But if you have it on your screen, it's going to be obviously just as good. So with doc analysis, this is something that only one of you out of all my classes, after all the DBQs that we've done, has attempted to do. Even when people, you know, scored on their DBQs, only one person attempted to do this, okay? So, and document analysis, again, goes back to what we had done way at the beginning of the year with HIP and SOAP. And if you remember what HIP stands for, is historical context, intended audience, purpose, or point of view, right? These are ways that you can analyze a document, not show how it supports your argument, but analyze the source, the author of that document. Okay, so if you look down here on document analysis sheet, this is kind of what your process should be. After you go into your body paragraphs where you've organized, you know, document 1, 2, and 3 support this particular part of my argument. So you start that first paragraph with a topic sentence. It makes an argument in response to the prompt, okay? The next thing you do is start going into the documents that support that particular topic, okay, and that support your argument. So you describe the document and the relevant information that supports your argument. You know, for instance, from this newest DBQ, how I guess it was to the extent that Christianity changed Latin American societies, maybe you claim that it changed societies significantly because, you know, it attracted converts and forced many people to continue their practice of their indigenous beliefs in secret. So maybe your first paragraph argument, you know, will go to, you know, supporting that relevant information. However, document analysis goes deeper than that. It's going to make an analysis of the document that highlights the HIP things, either historical context, the purpose, point of view, intended audience. All right, that makes a difference. Now, the easiest one to use with the HIP analysis to get you those points, to get you the document analysis points, okay, is to use purpose, in my opinion. All right, I think that's the easiest one. But some of you may be really good at it, and maybe you're like, point of view or the audience. Different documents will lend itself to be analyzed in different ways. Okay, do you guys follow me what analysis is so far? Either type it in the chat or say something, guys. If you just silent, I don't know if you're listening. Okay, yes, 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 yes. I see lots of yeses. Then my question to you guys very simply is, why haven't you tried it? No one's tried it on the DBQs at all. So everybody's just ignored those points. All right, you guys have to get into the practice of trying to analyze these documents. If you don't try to analyze these documents, you're losing out on points. Just to show you what I'm talking about, here is the rubric for 2020. All right, and when this loads up, again, getting the analysis points. All right, so you got your thesis and claim points, your contextualization, your evidence points, but then you are basically saying for analysis and reasoning, if you don't attempt to analyze a document with HIP and be relevant with it, you're ignoring these analysis and reasoning points. You're essentially saying, I am not going to get these 2 points. All right, you're saying that I'm not going to even attempt them, even though to analyze the purpose of a document is pretty easy. Or maybe even the intended audience is decently easy still. Okay, so if you're not attempting it, you're saying, I can't get these 2 points. And all you need to do to even get 1 additional point is to do a HIP or SOAP, whatever one you want to do. Just choose one, the purpose of a document for 1 document. Look at this, guys. I'm going to try to zoom in here, and I hope you can see it. But to get the first 2 analysis and reasoning points, just to get 1 point, all you got to do is for 1 document, explain why the document's point of view, purpose, historical situation, or audience is relevant to your argument. That's it. That could bump a 3 to a 4 and get you to get a 3 overall so you can get college credit. You know, even if you do it for just 1 document, that's 1 extra point. If you do it for 2, that's 2 extra points. That's a good jump there, guys. So this week's DBQ, I'm hoping a lot of you guys, after this practice, try to do it. Try to use the analysis, please. Just for your grade's sake and just to get practice in. Any questions for me before we start into the actual practice of today? Again, looking at the chat, waiting for you guys. I know you guys can unmute yourselves, I'm pretty sure, so. No one saying anything? Okay. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. If I see a question pop up, I'll try to answer it. Let's go to practice day 4, back to here, okay? Here is an example of how to use document analysis. All right, and I'm gonna I know this sounds kind of stupid, but I'm gonna go ahead and read to you. Here's the example right here. So here is the prompt. Using the documents provided, evaluate the effects of various strategies implemented by governments that promoted their own state-sponsored visions of industrialization during period 1750 to 1900. This is the same prompt we worked with last week, so you should be somewhat familiar with it, or one of the prompts that we work with. So again, here, red are the topic sentences. Blue is the describing the document and using information to support your argument. And then pink will be the actual document analysis. So let's read through this. An additional effect of state-sponsored industrialization was the expansion of public infrastructure projects like railroads and canal systems. There's your topic sentence right there. All right. Now the next part is probably going to be all doc analysis or doc where you're using the description of the document and supporting your argument. These building projects were seen by governments to be critical in linking manufacturing cities and regions together. And as a result of the construction of these projects, industrially produced goods could be easily moved from consumers around the country. Now here's where it mentions the document. In America specifically, Government infrastructure projects allowed consumers across the country to gain access to goods no matter where they lived. And even people living on the opposite side of the country could purchase and receive goods from East Coast department stores. That's what document 7 is describing, and it supports this topic right here. Okay, he talks about the effects. Now here is the doc analysis, and it stands out because it's in pink, but it's also going to stand out to how it approaches, how it actually approaches going into the document. Interestingly, however, the author of the document, document 7, is a former banker and lawyer, and titles the paper where document 7 comes from. Infrastructure is always a good thing. As a former banker, and indicated by this industrialization positive title, the author is likely only focusing on the positive effects of industrialization in this piece, as it relates to the generating of money for businesses, banks, and wealthy people like him. This makes me wonder how many negative environmental effects he may have overlooked to focus only on these positives. Now that's a long example of document analysis, but I'm hoping it's very clear you guys can see what particular part of HIP are they using to analyze this document. What part of HIP are they using to analyze document 7? No one? Again, I'm looking at the chat, but I'm also, you guys should be able to unmute yourselves. Okay, Khan saying point of view, Naomi point of view. Conan historical context. Keep on typing in the chat, guys, or saying out loud. POV.
Wouldn't it be like historical context, because it's talking about how he where he works and stuff, and what type of person he is, if he's rich or poor? Like, wouldn't that also be like, that's not point of view?
Well, you're talking about that as historical context. So you can make an argument for historical context, but this is using POV. It's addressing the author as a former banker and lawyer. This is why he is only focusing on the positive effects of industrialization. This is clear point of view being used in this pink part. Historical context would be a little different. That would be saying like, well, in this period, 1800, 1900 bankers were really doing X, Y, and Z, and it impacted economies in A, B, and C way. You may want to, this is definitely a POV, okay? Because it's literally looking at the author and his former banker that's telling you about his actual job and title. Okay. Does this example make sense to everybody? Again, type it in the chat. Yes, no, maybe, because we're going to start going through a few more things. We got some yeses in here. You got some yeses. Fayola, but didn't you say earlier we can't state the doc we got it from? But in your example, that person did exactly that. So do we or not? So check the example out. You see where it says that parenthetical citation? Okay. It says where this is from. Document 7. That's using parenthetical citations to show which document we are taking our argument from. Look at this. See right there? This is, again, describing the document and the relevant information to support your argument. Yes, do that. Use the parenthetical citation. In here, it's still kind of, and you could still use according to Doc 7 and stuff like that, but this person still says, however, interestingly, however, the author of document 7 is a former banker. So again, it relates it. It still is being clear. The biggest part of this is being clear where you get your information.
Mr. Mathos?
Yes.
I think what she's asking, when you said that, like, how you don't take, like, direct quotes from the documents, she's asking because you said that we had to, like, rephrase it and stuff.
Yes.
That's what she's asking, if we still have to do that
see.
or completely take it from the document.
I see, like taking the document title, like see infrastructure is always a good thing.
No, like the parenthetical citation thing. She's asking if we have to, like, take the quote directly from the document or, like, rephrase it with our own words.
You always rephrase with your words.
Yeah, see?
You
All
never quote. I keep putting this on so many things. I've put it on a couple announcements. You never quote from the document. This person is only quoting the title because it helps to support the rest of their work. They're not taking a broad swath of quotes or quoting an entire sentence. They're literally just saying, and titles the paper where document 7 comes from. Infrastructure is always a good thing. Does that make sense? With me so far?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So let's start to go down here now. What I want you guys to do right now is to try to do exactly what this person did. Okay? You're going to take this document, and again, here is your prompt. Using the documents provided, evaluate the extent to which Industrial Revolution negatively impacted the lives of women and children in industrial societies in the 19th century. Here is a document from this particular DBQ. What I want you to do is to basically write out the document analysis. You're practicing the document analysis. You don't need to make an argument. Analyze this document using historical context, intended audience, point of view, purpose, but try to do it. And I will go ahead and give you guys 4 or 5 minutes tops to provide some sort of analysis. And you could type this in the chat. You could write it on your own paper because, as you know, on the website, and I'll show you again, and you can see my screens, there are the exemplars right here. So you can go in, and once you're done writing it on your paper or writing it wherever you're at, you can see what the exemplar is. You can see what somebody else did. Okay? So take 4 or 5 minutes, and let's do one of these right now. Analyze it, historical context, using historical context, point of view, purpose, or intended audience. And if you forgot how to do those, remember, that should be in your notes. You had a ton of handouts about HIP. And so if for whatever reason you don't have that in front of you, if you go to my website, WAP, Writing for the Exam, and you click on it, there should be, under the DBQ on Writing for the Exam, a handout. Let me see, the DBQ points game. Oh, maybe I took it off. I might be working on things. Sorry, guys. I thought I had it on here. I might have been doing it. Oh, wait, no, it's up here. Sorry. Historical thinking skills. My bad, dude. My bad. Analyzing primary documents guideline. And you have historical context, intended audience, purpose, point of view. Type in the chat if you want me to keep this up here. Because maybe you have the actual DBQ4, this stuff on your screen already. You want me to keep HIP up? You want me to keep this up? Ethan's saying yes. Deontay's saying yes. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we'll keep it there. Elliot, what do you mean by like gold mines? What do you mean?
I was like, Makonnen said, I have mines. And I was like,
oh, yeah. Okay. I'm giving you guys 4 or 5 minutes. I'll be back.
I'll fix it later.
I just need to finish up one thing with my son over here. And never mind, he was actually napping. So I got a snack instead. Since Elliot was eating Oreos earlier. Again, whenever you're ready, you may type it into the chat. You may write it on your own paper. But if you type in the chat, I'll be able to give you feedback, obviously. And I'll also tell you what the exemplar I have as well. I'm gonna go back real quick to the practice, make sure I have the right documents here. Okay, make sure you are doing number 1, document 6. Okay, I'll put the hip back up. Viola, where do we find the documents? Well, come on, that's on DBQ practice day 4. That's what I had you guys go to again. It's under exam review. Come on, after 3 minutes, you're just asking me that, Faye? Come on now. Down here, WAP exam 2020, and click on DBQ practice day number 4. Now my internet's going slow too. Sorry, everybody. Internet went a little screwy, I guess. Oh no, I gotta put everything back up again. All right, I'm sorry, but my chat history, did anybody post anything while I was gone? Because my chat history kind of got erased, unfortunately. I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay. I don't have anybody putting any analysis. Hey, everybody, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with my internet. I think I fixed the issue now, though. Jeez. So, can everybody hear and see my screen again? All right.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. So let's get back at this. Did anybody put an example of, again, going in here? Again, for those of you that are still looking for the things, are right here. Okay, that DBQ skills practice that we're working on is here. All right, I'm getting one here. Okay. Angelina, a British Hannah, an investigative boys already working. She came up with an envision mindset, back condition. Okay, you know what? I should probably read this out loud. Hannah Richardson, a British investigator, came to investigate young boys, all ages, working in coal mine. She came with an envisioned mind setup that they were in bad condition, but to her surprise, she's seen the opposite of what she came to investigate. Instead, them being tired or exhausted, she arrived to see them in healthy and great working. Okay, so what are you trying to analyze there, Angelina?
Hi, Philippe. Mr. Matos.
Yes.
So look, this document though, like it's saying only like she's like kind of defending, like she's not really saying like that the kids are like, I don't know, doing something like they're being treated badly or something like that. The only thing I could think of is like, since she said that they learned how to read but they don't know how to write, that's the only thing I could think of to argue against like how it negatively impacted the kids, because they could be spending time like getting a better education, but they're working, you know, when they're 6 years old or 7 or 8.
Okay. No, and I'm looking at the same thing, but remember, you're not trying to make an argument here. You're trying to analyze the document. Okay, so how are we analyzing the document? And that's where, and again, Angelina, you're mistaking document analysis with kind of you're summarizing, it seems like, the document in a way.
Mr. Matos.
Yes.
What I'm trying to do is just connect it to the prompt so like it makes sense, right?
Of course.
So I really can't think of a way that I can use it to connect it, because so should I say that, if I look to the sense, so I say it didn't impact that much, like I use that while I'm describing the document, like
well, again, you've already used, so in a perfect world, what you guys have done already is this. What all you guys are saying right now is this blue part. You're still trying to use it to support the document. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Read this pink again. This does not focus on your argument.
Oh, okay.
But it focuses on the document itself, the analysis of it.
Okay, I know how to do it. Okay. Let me try.
Angelina, you're saying, can I switch up some words to make it a POV? Sure, you can. But you would need to change what you're doing, because what you're doing is you're kind of summing up the documents in your words. Okay, but that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's the blue part in a way. You're kind of saying, hey, this is what this document is showing us, and this is how I use it to support my argument. You know, what we need to do is analyze a document using one of these things: historical context, intended audience, purpose, or point of view. Because you guys, and we're working on this, I'm going to give you guys another minute here to try to come up with some more answers. Let's see, McConan. So are we allowed to change up the context in a way of supporting our DBQ? Again, guys, to analyze documents, it's not about supporting your argument. You've already done that, hopefully, by, describing the document and the relevant information in it that supports an argument. That's, again, look at the example, topic sentence. The blue is the actual describing of the document and the relevant information that supports your argument. That's the blue part. The pink just is analyzing the source. It has no, if you read it again, it's not arguing one way or another. It's just trying to analyze a document. Why did it say? Again, we can go through them. You know, who created the source? What do we know about the author? You know, where and when was it produced? How might that impact the information or the meaning of the source? You know what? I can give you a kind of example off the top of my head if that helps with, you know, some of these answers. Like, I'm a teacher, obviously. So if I'm sitting there and I go to Tallahassee, which is our state capital, and I am arguing about why teachers deserve higher pay. If you look at this and you're not thinking about what I'm saying now, look at the source. Me, I am a teacher. So when I'm saying these things about why teachers deserve higher pay, you could probably look at the purpose of what I'm trying to say. What am I doing here? I'm trying to, you know, I'm a teacher, obviously. That affects, you know, why I'm saying this, because this affects my personal pay. You know, you can maybe use point of view. Well, being a teacher affects his point of view because I know how much work goes into being a teacher. You know, being a male teacher or something like that. Maybe obviously economic status may come into it. You could use that. You have to analyze the source of the information. All right, not what the actual document is saying. You can use what the document is saying in your analysis, but it's not, you know, necessary in a way. Question, does everybody want me to go into the exemplar example kind of thing and we can go through it?
Yes, that would be cool.
Okay. So the exemplar that's given, and I'll read it out, or yeah, I'll read it out to you guys. So the author of the document, Hannah Richardson, is a member of the British working class testifying about her children's work before the British Parliament. So can you see where they got that information from? Look, let's go to the example right here. Hannah Richardson, a British worker. Think about what I'm saying here. The author of the document, Hannah Richardson, is a member of the British working class testifying about her children's work before the British Parliament. Can you guys see where they obviously got that information? Waiting for a response from chats or microphones. Okay, Naomi can see it. Okay, Ethan, yeah, okay. I'll continue. In her testimony, she appears to be putting a positive spin on the work her children are doing in the mines, being careful not to make it seem too awful. Given how low wages were and how poor the living conditions were for working class citizens in Britain at this time, it's possible she may be speaking so positively because she's afraid that if she told the truth about the terrible working conditions for children in the mines, British Parliament may forbid the practice of child labor and her family would then lose money. And her children are earning at a time where they very much depend upon it. That is the full analysis of the document. Now you can see that this is reflected in the document. All right, so again, look at this. It says Hannah Richardson, a British worker, from her testimony before the Ashley Committee on the Conditions of Coal Mines. The Ashley Committee was a parliamentary committee investigating abuses in the coal industry. So clearly, this document, somebody is trying to make Hannah say things about the coal mines. This is her testimony. This is what she's saying to the people that are investigating. All right, her and her thing. So she's saying she's got the child, you know, obviously things are bad in there. Conditions are bad. We know this. This is where your content comes into play. All right, remember things like black lung. how kids were stooped over every day working for 12 to 16 hours. You know, we know it's a bad thing, but we know also that a lot of families depended upon income from these children, from these women.
It was so hot in there, and people would die because of that.
Elliot,
so hot,
or what is it? Who can I hear?
Yes.
I can hear Mateus through your headphones, I think.
Yikes.
So just remember here, and going back to it, looking at it, read what she's saying here. There's not much different in his health since he went into the pit. He was at school and can read pretty well, but can't write. He is used to pretty well. I've never heard him complain. You know, like, it seems like she's trying to say, like, oh, you know, everything's okay. He can't do certain things because he's not in school, but he's working. You know, she seems to be saying this. She doesn't want these things to be shut down. They need the money. All right, so this is, what would this be an example of? And I'll read it one more time, okay, so you guys can hear it in full. The author of the document, Hannah Richardson, is a member of the British working class testifying about her children's work before the British Parliament. In her testimony, she appears to be putting a positive spin on the work her children are doing in the mines, being careful not to make it seem too awful. Given how low wages were and how poor the living conditions were for working class citizens in Britain at this time, it is possible she may be speaking so positively because she's afraid. If she told the truth about the terrible working conditions for children in the mines, British Parliament may forbid the practice of child labor, and her family would lose the money and her children are earning at this time when they very much depend upon it. All right. Naomi saying purpose. She's trying to promote it more than be able to get money and income. Okay, yeah, that's the purpose. She's trying to say it because she needs the money. That could be analyzing the purpose. Sure. I can definitely see that. Anybody else with an answer? Ethan said purpose. Anyone want to argue something different? You guys can unmute your mics now. Tell me.
Historical context.
Could be historical context because it's bringing in all these different things, right? Khan.
Historical context.
Historical context is one of the harder ones, but yeah, it does bring in a lot of historical context. A lot of historical context here because it's talking about how the wages were and how living conditions were poor. Some of these things kind of bleed together, you could see. Point of view for Khan, let me see. Let's check out point of view. Oh, I minimized it. Let's check out point of view. What point is the source trying to be? What is the point of view? Analyze their. I don't think it's point of view, Khan. I don't think it's point of view. I think if anything, you'd argue that this person used purpose. I would say that purpose is probably a good answer, but historical context may be the best answer here because it's really describing the times that they're living in. Everybody on the same page so far? All right, so let's go to practice 2. All right, now that you've heard one of the exemplars, one of the better ones, try to go to the next document, which is, it says, using documents provided, evaluate the causes of the rise of nationalism throughout the world during period 1750 to 1900. Here's the source. Again, the source is what you are examining here. Not as much what they're doing here, but the source. Again, use this, a HIP, choose one of them to analyze this document. All right, and then start typing your responses in the group chat, or you can say them to me or write them on your own and check them later. Again, you may type it somewhere else, type it into the chat. We'll go through it. You could say it. Yanshe's typing intended audience. That would probably be the easiest one to do it, but I want you to write yours. How would you analyze it? I mean, this is definitely one where you could totally use intended audience. Johann Gottlieb is a German philosopher, addresses the German nation. So he's literally addressing the German nation. And look at when it's happening.
Could you say point of view? Because it's like he's giving his point of view on nationalism and like how he's like, I don't know, but
I mean, again, remember, you choose one. You guys don't need to have the correct one. Like, any document can be examined using anything. You could use historical context, intended audience, purpose, point of view to analyze any of these documents. But what I was saying to Yanshe is that this might be easy to use intended audience because it's literally a speech made to the German nation when Germany was being occupied by Napoleon.
mm-hmm.
So certain documents are easier to apply certain things. I think purpose is probably one of the easiest ones to apply to any document, which is why I said that before.
Could you put maybe purpose would be like useful because it's like the purpose is to like influence all the people or like
said that.
Go ahead. Continue. Okay, what do you mean
Basically,
influence all the people?
Like he's influencing people into like thinking how he thinks and like believing in nationalism and like very like German-y, I guess. Like he's kind of like the extremist like views and stuff.
Okay, so you would analyze it in using purpose and be like, yeah, it seems like the author is trying to, have people believe the same beliefs as him as far as nationalism. Again, you don't just want to put down like vague information. You don't want to say like, oh, the author is trying to motivate them to believe how he believes. You want to add something to it, so motivate them to do what? What beliefs is he trying to get the populace to believe the same as him?
That like, for example, Jewish people or all different people that like not the Aryan race are like bad, I guess. Wasn't that kind of at the time?
Wait, hold on. Back up on the Jewish thing. Look at the dates, dude.
Oh, up to 1900.
Look at the dates.
Never mind.
Like, you got to always pay attention to the source. All right, no one's really typing in the Zoom chat, guys. I want you to try. Don't be afraid to, try and fail here, guys. This is what we're doing. I want you guys. No one's going to jump out and be good at this. We've tried to do it a few times, but let's keep on plugging at this. It's a good start there, Elliot, where you were saying, he's the purpose of it, of him saying these things for them to believe the same things as he did, but for what purpose? What's the next step there? Give you guys a few more minutes here before I start kind of going through the example that I have. Because I want to go through what you guys know. That's the purpose, is practicing this. Come on, guys, show me what you got. Come on, guys. Waiting for a few examples here. Type it in that Zoom chat. Okay, here we go. Ooh, okay, we got 2 in a row. All right, let's go up to Matthias right here. Johann Gottlieb Fichte was trying to show the German people like himself that they needed to remain strong and true to the German culture. Due to the occupation of Napoleon, he wanted to show German nation how not to change and believe in the German race. Okay, I'm liking that. It's a really good start. It's a good start, and I think you could possibly do that. Now, knowing content here would be good. You know, remain strong. What would be the purpose of them to remain strong? Do you think, and this is for Matthias, would remain strong, do the occupation want to show them how to not change and believe in the German race? Remember, if Napoleon and the French people are occupying Germany, what might Johann Gottlieb Fichte want the German people to do? What's he trying to motivate them to do? Fight back. Elliot just said fight back. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the recording maybe, but did fight back. Khan addresses the German to revolt. There we go. Johann Gottlieb Fichte saying, yes, the German nation to revolt against the French that are occupying the German land, generating a sense of nationalism. He intends to encourage the Germans to rebel against. Perfect. Nice job, Khan. Matthias, you were so close. If you would have, again, I think you're good with what you got to remain strong and true to the German culture. What was the purpose of them to remain strong and true? It's to them, he's trying to motivate them to revolt. All right, so we've got those 2 examples. And just to show you how close between Matthias and Khan, we're close here, I'm going to read the exemplar. It's on the website, but I'm just going to read it here. The author of the speech, Johann Gottlieb, that appears to be invoking these powerful nationalist sentiments in order to specifically motivate German citizens countrywide to revolt and help drive the occupying French army led by Napoleon out of Germany. By giving this speech to the German nation where he tells the history of the German citizens resisting the Romans' rule, he's hoping that people will respond to these romanticized tales and be motivated to act similarly. I'm going to cut it right there, but that's basically what it says on the exemplar, one of the better examples. All right. So I know we're already on that hour mark, and I really don't like to go over it too much, but I do want to start on thesis stuff, and today and next week are very closely linked. Okay, so I want to stay with me, guys, here. I want you guys, well, first of all, I'm going ahead myself. Do you guys have any questions about what we were doing right there with number 2? Anybody? You guys can unmute yourselves, obviously.
I understand it, honestly.
Okay. It's tough to do. It really is. But
I didn't really understand the document, but then when you said that they were trying to resist, I was like, oh, okay, I know what to write, and I just started writing.
Bravely resisted the oncoming world domination. Are you guys ready to move to the next subject for the day, y'all?
Yes.
Matea's saying yes. Anybody in the chat, again, type in the chat. Naomi, yes, yes, yes. Everybody's saying yes now. Okay. So, again, there's another example down here. Number 3. Number 4, there's a couple more examples. So use the exemplars on the website. Yansha, your head hurts so you can't even think straight. All right, well, we're going to try to set you straight right now then, okay? Again, let's go to, so you can use this when you're writing your DBQs, by the way, for this week. It may help you at least get that document analysis point that a lot of you guys have been missing. All right, so in exam review, again, this is on my website, Lab Exam 2020. Click on Thesis, Document 5, Thesis Practice. All right, looks like this on top, exploring the document-based question, thesis creation. Now, if you remember, this is the granddaddy. This is the big stuff. If you don't have a good thesis, it kind of makes the rest of your essay tumble down. All right, so, this is what we work the most on. So this, I'm not gonna even worry about some of these things up here. I'm gonna go through the example, and then we're gonna go straight into some of these actual practices down here, because we're running short on time, because you're gonna actually have to do a little bit of analysis here. This is going to take you, you know what, this might be a little too long for you guys. Okay, because we're running short on time, it's already 2:05. Here's what I want you guys to do. This is going to be, if you want to stay and do it, I will go over this one right here. This practice number 1, I will give time and I'll stay on for as long as I need to for us to get through it. If you want to go, if you have to go, because I said it was an hour, you know, hour and some change, and you already told your parents or something like that, go ahead and do this on your own. I want you guys to do DBQ practice day 5, all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, however many pages it is, all right? And then we're going to go over this at the beginning of next week. Now, if you can stay, stay. I'd like to do this live with you guys. If you can't, I understand though. So with that being said, let's hop into this. Using the documents provided, evaluate the various strategies implemented by governments that promoted their own state-sponsored visions of industrialization during the period 1750 to 1900. See that? We've used this before. Here is the example thesis that they made. All right, what you are going to do here, you're going to do, using this prompt, you're going to go document 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to actually have to go in and examine these documents. Do what we did. Don't analyze, but you are just looking to make your groupings. So analyze the prompt. What is this actually asking us to do? Okay. Evaluate the extent. Again, this is the to the extent. So you actually have to make your thesis as a how much did something change and how or why did it change? So it's 2 parts. How much was it changed and how and why? Then you're going to go through document 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and make a thesis. All right. Now this is going to take a little longer. So I think because there's only 5 documents, I think you guys can make and do a I think you guys can make or do a thesis here, and you're going to have to, on the day of the test, let's give you 15 minutes. 15 minutes. So it's 2:07 right now. Take 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and work over here, make sure I got everything done. If you have questions, type them in the chat or just speak out loud using your mics. But
Shamatos.
yes, sir.
I have a question.
Sure.
Just to make sure. I'm gonna stay anyway, but did you say that if we leave, we have to do all the practices for homework, like the document?
That's what. Well, you don't have to. Like, I can't force you to do them. But this is what next week when I do the same Zoom session, I'm gonna go over all these at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
So if you need to go, you can. But if you have a little bit of extra time, you got an extra 20 minutes here. Stay, do the document, like actually do a thesis, so we can get at least 1 practice round in.
All right. Cool.
All right. So again, your first step here, guys, examine the prompt, analyze it, make sure you know what to do with it. Then start going through these documents, getting the main idea, and how does this answer the prompt? What is the main idea of the prompt? How does this answer the prompt? All right, and then you're going to create your thesis down here, and we'll go over your theses. Brennan, it's okay. Go ahead, bud, but make sure you get this done so next week you're ready to go. So it was 2:07, 2:08 when I was finished giving instructions. I'll give you guys till like 2:20, 2:22, 2:23 to get all this done. I'll be right back. If you need a question, type it in the chat or just say it out loud. All right. Just to see, I think I want to make my own thesis on this. Hmm? Yeah. Keep it sealed, you know? Oh, I actually can't do that right now. By the way, on a side note, guys, I know you can hear me still. My wife was, when I went into the kitchen, she was making fun of me because apparently I am talking too loud, or maybe I'm talking loud. Is it coming through really loud on the speakers, on your speakers, apparently?
Nah, it's okay. And even if it is, like, you can just lower the volume if you're on a computer. I don't know if you're on your phone, but.
Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha!
What I heard is that he lowered the volume. That's what I heard.
Well, oh. Thanks, Mateus. You couldn't have left that part out.
Got you.
All right. Hey, Naomi said it's good for her.
Okay, then I'll send her Luke when he wakes up.
Shut up.
Hey, say the audio is good. Just say the audio is good.
It's amazing for me. The audio is perfectly
Ooh, look at that.
fine.
Perfect. Elliot got that. Elliot knew what to say right there.
Yes. You know who told me what to say? Myself.
Yeah.
Totally. I did not tell you what to say because you were totally paying attention, huh?
Wow. All right.
At least I was reading the documents.
Ooh, rough.
Not like we're not doing it together, huh?
whenever you guys have theses ready, I know it's still, you got plenty of time. We still got 9 minutes here. Type it into the chat, or you can just have it written down so you can say it to me. Totally your choice. I'm working on this right now myself.
What the fuck?
Hey, watch your mouth. Went right back on mute after that.
Oh my god. He forgot to mute himself.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, let's just never talk about that. It's because
Yeah.
I was reading how the girl got ran over by something.
Yeah. Yeah. No. You'd be surprised on the conditions of some of these places.
Yeah, and she still had to go to work, but crazy, huh?
Yep. Elliot, quit spamming my chat with that stuff. Okay, so I'm probably write my thesis. I'm already starting to write my thesis, y'all. Hopefully y'all are too. And I started after you guys, so hopefully you got this. All right. With 2 minutes to spare, I'm done with my thesis. Start looking at what we have here. All right, Ethan. Although the Industrial Revolution was an unprecedented time for inventors, companies, and consumers throughout all the benefits arose negative things about the revolution. One of these was how women and children were affected by the sudden presence of new factories and the need for employees. The work conditions for women and lack of child labor laws subjected them to have to perform a job well while trying to stay sane at the same time. Okay, let's see. Let's unpack this. So let's go back to the actual thing right here. Evaluate the extent which negatively impacted the lives of women and children in industrial societies. So, Ethan, I'm a little confused here. So when you're saying arose negative things about the revolution, one of these things was how women and children were affected by the sudden presence of new factories and the need for their employees. You don't really mention many of those negative things. So you say there's negative things about the revolution, but you don't really go into, you say the work conditions for women and lack of child labor laws subjected them to perform a job well while trying to stay sane, but you don't really use the documents there. I don't really see the mention of sanity really there a whole lot. It's not bad. I just think you need a little bit more detail there to make it really work well. Okay. Con, although the industrial revolution provided a higher source of income, which assisted the family, the women and children in the 19th century experienced poor working conditions and were exposed to relentless work, diseases, and accidents. Let me read it out a little louder. I probably was mumbling there. From Khan, although the Industrial Revolution provided higher sources of income, which assisted the family, the women and children in the 19th century experienced poor working conditions and were exposed to relentless work, diseases, and accidents, significantly impacting their daily lives. Excellent job. That's straight to the point, and you're using details from the prompt because you're saying, hey, this is happening, but this is the negative part of it, and that goes directly with what this is trying to show you. It's trying, again, evaluate the extent to which Industrial Revolution negatively impacted the lives. So he started with the positive, saying like, hey, yeah, income's assisted people, but you have these terrible working conditions that came along with it. Okay, so yeah, Con, that's good. Elliot, although the Industrial Revolution provided higher sources of income, which assisted the family, the women and children in the 19th century, which were, what the heck, man? I thought that was yours, Elliot, man. Come on. Con, what's the purpose of having a counterclaim in your thesis? So what it does, it allows you to still use those documents, and sometimes having a counterclaim can strengthen your argument because you're saying like, hey, to the extent, so you're saying these things all happen. Yes, it came with this, but this is more important. This is the big part of it, and that's where you actually answer the question. Evaluate the extent to which they negatively impacted the lives of women and children. You're like, well, see, it starts off as this, but this is the main part. It really strengthens your argument there, Con. And now that I'm back to it here, Elliot, where is your actual thesis? Come on now, man.
I'm making it right now.
Okay, let's go. We're on 25. I should have everybody with their thesis rolling in this group chat. There's only 8 of you left here, but I don't care. I want to see, I've only gotten 2 so far. Let's go. Remember, this is a 5-document one. This is about what you should be doing 15 minutes-ish. Mateus, Isaac, Naomi, where you at? Come on.
Almost done.
Layla, come on.
I'm almost done too. I'm almost done.
All right, good. Once you guys are all kind of done putting yours in there, I'll read to the one I did, and I timed myself. And again, I know you're like, but you're the teacher. Well, I still did it right then. It was, I'll show you my notes and everything. Well, I can't show you. I'm sharing my screen. but I'll go through that, and then we'll talk about what we're going to be doing next week very quickly, so we can get you guys out of here. Okay. From 1750 to 1900, the Industrial Revolution was very beneficial to the economic statuses of the people. However, the conditions of newly built factories were deplorable, and working hours were inhumane, with disease, death, and child labor. Okay, cool. That actually does the same kind of thing. Now, the only thing I would say that you'd want to do, Elliot, is that you want to refocus it back to the answer, or excuse me, back to the prompt. So see how it talks about the impact of the lives of women and children? It's asking you, evaluate the extent to which Industrial Revolution negatively impacted the lives of women and children. Okay, so it focuses on women and children. Right here, you say, however, the conditions of newly built factories were deplorable and working hours were inhumane, with disease, death, and child labor. I would make sure you include women somewhere in there, but you'd still get the point here. This is me just trying to help out as much as possible. Always refer back to the prompt. Make sense, Elliot? Okay. Naomi, oh, you put yours ahead of his. Oh, sorry. Although the Industrial Revolution caused the incomes of many to increase, the women and children worked in horrible conditions, and the postponing of their learning experience resulted in exposure to harsh breathing environments and accidents. Yeah, that's going to work. That will earn you the point. Okay, Naomi, excellent job. It's going to earn you the point. You could add a little more detail in there, but to be honest, it's still going to earn the point. Mateus, the Industrial Revolution greatly negatively impacted women and children's lives in the 19th century by having terrible work conditions, like no breaks during work, spread disease, and possible accidents that would happen. Kids would get no education and force their bodies, which would bring permanent damage, and women worked intensely due to them needing to work on mines because the introduction of new technologies, which caused low wages. Although you don't have a counterclaim, I still think that this would work. The only thing that having that counterclaim worked in there, Mateus, would work with is that I think that it would help to bring in documents 1 and 5, which kind of highlight some of the positives of the Industrial Revolution. But good. And Naomi, you didn't finish it, but okay. I think, oh, so you had more to go along with that. What else did you have, Naomi? I think what you had could work. It's straight, it's to the point. And it has just enough there. And Mateus, I think that's good. I do think yours works too. Okay. Yeah, Naomi, if you added more details on how to impact the learning, then that can only add to the strength of the thesis. I do think you earned the point, though. There's no extra points for having this amazing, beautiful, crazy thesis. As long as you get the point for the thesis, you don't get half points, you know. It's you either get it or you don't, and yours reaches the level that is acceptable. Okay, so that's what I want. Oh, see some new messages. Here we go. All right, so I've had enough time. I think there's been plenty of time to be able to put a thesis in. My personal one. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Let me see. Stop share. All right, everybody can see me. This is what I did very quickly. All I had on hand was a couple of Post-it notes. And I'm going to try to hold them up a little bit. Maybe you can see, maybe you can't. All I did was kind of go to the documents and kind of make 1- and 2-word, 3-word little answers about what that document did. Like, for instance, document 1, I put plus money, plus for factories, you know. Maybe it was plus for factories. 2, I put like, you know, negative, like the actual negative sign, work hard, conditions bad, long hours. 3, I put like plus to freedom, but I had negative for farming, negative for job security. 4, I put more negative use of boys, negative for conditions. 5, I put, plus money, plus jobs. So you could see, and then I linked them. I don't know if you guys actually did the process, but did you guys actually see where your groupings were? Anybody do that?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like your groupings, like, you know how you made your arguments? Like, for instance, I'll go back to the chat real quick. You said, like for yours, Mateus, you said it greatly negatively impacted women and children's lives during the 19th century. Which ones were you talking about when you're talking about, which documents were you talking about when you're saying diseases and the accidents that could happen?
Oh, okay.
Education. Which documents went along with that? You know what I mean? So my personal groupings was I had 1 and 5. That was a part of my counterclaim one because that has the most positive information about the Industrial Revolution, 1 and 5. And then I had 2, 3, and 4 as the ones where I had negative information. So my personal thesis, and again, sorry if I misread it, I kind of used a lot of small words and a lot of terrible handwriting, unfortunately. The Industrial Revolution changed the way families and society made a living, and where they lived, and this is very quick, I'm sorry about this, with the move from rural areas to cities, and with new opportunities also to support their family and education. However, conditions were dangerous. Geez, I can't read my handwriting. Conditions were dangerous, work was hard, and job security was not a sure thing. So I wrote that kind of quickly, and I know I butchered some of the words on here because I can't read it anymore because I was writing so fast. But you could see I kind of followed the same sort of thing as Khan. You put a sort of a positive and a negative thing. So what I want you guys to do now, and I'm going to share my screen one more time with you. Next week, we're going to go over 2 and 3. All right, so use these, go in there, and complete this. All right, do 2 and 3, and those are the first things we're going to go over next week. Does everybody get that? Everybody understand?
Jess.
Jess. I want to see yes from everybody. Mateus, Isaac, Layla, Ethan, everybody here.
Yes.
All right, we got that. So last thing, next week, and I'm going to be putting a remind about this. This is the last thing I'm going to go ahead and do for you guys. So after we go over that next week, we are going to do our first kind of time DBQ.
Oh, no.
We're going to do it live.
Oh, okay. That's better.
We're going to do it live. In your books, all right, on page 485 under period 5 review. You guys see this?
Jess.
It's in your AMSCO books, all right? Just in case you forget what I'm saying right here and you don't watch this recording, I'm going to share my screen again. I'm sorry. I just keep going back and forth.
Wait, am I
If you
gonna be
look
recording when
on the schedule, can you guys see this, my screen now, the schedule?
Yes.
Pop this out. You'll see that this is the same DBQ that I have as a practice. See right here, May 4th to May 8th? Right here, I'm going to zoom in as much as I can, I guess. Move this out. Whoops. Move this out the way. See right here is where it says complete the DBQ from period 5? This is the one we're going to do next week. Now we are going to do it timed. Now I'm going to stop my share here for a second. In order to make this actually a timed DBQ like the one we're going to be completing for college credit, you're going to take out some of these documents because this is a regular 7-document DBQ. All right? I don't want you to do and to use 4 and 5. And I'm going to remind you of this next week. If you want to get a jump on it and kind of have it done, or maybe you want to try it already, you could do that. But I don't want you to do document 4 or 5 next week. when we actually go into the session between us two, or between us, however many we have, excuse me. We're going to take out those documents. So next week, recap, we're going to finish up Thesis, and then we're going to go and we're going to actually do a time DBQ and review it the same day. So it's going to be a little bit longer. Probably as long as this one was today. Everybody cool?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. I see some yeses.
Yes, 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 yes,
All right,
yes,
all right.
yes, yes,
Qué
yes, yes.
bueno.
All right, Elliot. I get it. Lots of yeses. Okay. Then you guys are good to go.
Alrighty.
I'll send you guys reminds about it anyway, just to be sure, and I'll see you guys
Alrighty.
next week.
Alright.
And
This was helpful.
Bye-bye.
I hope so.
Bye,
Yeah,
Mr.
trust me, it
Mathos.
was. It was
Thank
really
You
good.
all have a good
Perfecto.
day. Sorry it took up a lot of
Mr.
time.
Mathos.
No, it was worth it.
All right, good. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Alright.
Mr. Mathos.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.
See you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye bye.